Sunset on nice beach, France. Violent waves. Howling sea wind. A scream rang out. Help! A woman thrashing in the water. Crowd on shore just standing, watching. No one daring to jump. Me, Julien, 40 years old, single dad, former lifeguard now working as waiter. I kicked off my shoes, dove into the sea. I pulled her to shore, performed CPR, chest compressions, rescue breathing. When her eyes opened, shocked whispers. I'm Julien Morel, 40 years old, single dad living in Nice, France. I used to work as a professional beach lifeguard for 15 years. Left the job 3 years ago after a rescue accident that still haunts my dreams every night. Now I wait tables at a small beachside cafe called La Mer Bleue. The pay barely covers rent and food. The hours are long and exhausting. My feet ache constantly, but it's steady work. It keeps food on the table for my son. That's all that matters now in my simple life. 3 things define me physically: broad shoulders deeply tanned from years working under the Mediterranean sun, a long jagged scar across my chest from that rescue gone horribly wrong, and deep dark brown eyes that people say look perpetually troubled. Haunted even, like I've witnessed too much loss, too much death, too much pain I couldn't prevent. My 11-year-old son Leo, energetic, curious, mischievous but warm-hearted. He's my only reason for living anymore. My only purpose after everything I lost 3 years ago. My entire world compressed into one small boy with messy brown hair and his mother's green eyes. We live in a small 2-room apartment in the old quarter of Nice. Peeling paint covers the walls. The bathroom tap drips constantly. But the balcony overflows with seashells and smooth, colorful stones Leo collects from the beach every single day after school. His treasures, his collections, his connection to the sea, I can no longer face professionally without feeling that old guilt rising. Our nightly routine never changes no matter what. However exhausted I am from pulling double shifts at the cafe, I always tell Leo stories about the ocean before bed, about whales migrating thousands of miles, dolphins playing in waves, underwater adventures in coral reefs, the same stories his mother used to tell him before she died in that boating accident. Before everything changed forever. That particular afternoon when I saved the drowning woman, I had absolutely no idea she was Clara Beaumont. 32 years old, technology billionaire, famous throughout Europe. Her face appears on magazine covers monthly, her company worth billions of euros, her name synonymous with success and innovation. After she regained consciousness on the sand, coughing up seawater violently, Clara looked up at me with confused, disoriented eyes. Who are you? What happened? I simply answered while wrapping her in a towel. Just a regular father. You nearly drowned. Rest now. Crowds gathered quickly around us. Camera phones flashing everywhere. People shouting her name excitedly. Recognizing her immediately. Creating chaos. Making a spectacle. I just handed her my beach towel. Then quietly walked away through the crowd. Back to my life. Back to my cafe shift. Back to my reality of survival. Symbolic object number 1 appeared then. A white seashell Leo had picked that morning during our beach walk. Perfect spiral shape. I'd kept it in my shirt pocket for him. Still there when I dove into those violent waves. Now cracked from the impact of hitting water, but somehow intact, surviving against odds. The real person mark of Act 1. A crumpled receipt for baguette bread. €1.80 exactly. In my wet pants pocket, completely soaked from the rescue, ink running and fading, but still readable if you looked carefully. My lunch budget, my daily reality, my actual life. That evening I came home exhausted to our small apartment. Leo was on the balcony as usual, carefully organizing his growing shell collection by size and color. How was work today, Papa? Interesting day, actually. Saved someone from drowning in the sea. His eyes went wide with excitement and pride. Really? Like you used to do? When you were a real lifeguard? Just like I used to do. The instinct never completely goes away, I suppose. So you're a hero again, like before. I ruffled his messy hair affectionately. Just did what needed doing. Nothing heroic, that's all. But I couldn't shake the image of those eyes, that moment of life returning. Something had shifted inside me. Something had woken up. The lifeguard I used to be. Still there, still alive, still capable. News spread incredibly fast through our small community. By evening, my phone buzzed constantly with unknown numbers. Media requesting interviews about saving the famous billionaire Clara Beaumont. Everyone wanting my story, my angle, my perspective on the rescue. I ignored every single call, turned off my phone completely, made simple dinner for Leo. Spaghetti with tomato sauce. His favorite meal, simple, normal, real, our life. Papa, people at school are saying you saved someone very important and famous. Everyone's equally important, Leo. Doesn't matter how much money they have in the bank. He thought about that seriously. That's exactly what Mama used to say to me. She was absolutely right about that. We ate in comfortable silence, the kind that only comes from deep connection, real love, real family understanding. But outside our small, protected world, something bigger was building momentum. Clara Beaumont asking questions about me, finding out who actually saved her life, wanting to meet me personally, to thank me properly, to understand why I simply walked away without asking for anything. 2 days later, I was working my usual cafe shift, serving espresso, clearing tables, taking orders, normal routine, nothing special. Then she walked through the door, Clara Beaumont herself, designer clothes clearly expensive, fashionable sunglasses, but walking hesitantly, uncertain, almost vulnerable despite her wealth. The entire cafe went completely silent, every customer staring, whispering excitedly, taking photos secretly with phones. She approached the counter directly. "Are you Julien Morel?" "That's me." "May I sit and talk?" "It's a public cafe, sit wherever you like." She chose a corner table, away from windows, away from cameras, away from attention. I brought her water and waited. From that exact moment, everything began to change between us. The next day, Clara returned to La Mer Bleu Cafe, where I worked my daily shifts. She wore different clothes, still obviously expensive designer brands, but more casual this time, more approachable, less billionaire armor protecting her from the world. Regular customers buzzed with barely contained excitement, whispers spreading everywhere. Why is a famous billionaire visiting a poor waiter repeatedly? She sat at the exact same corner table as before, ordered coffee, black. No sugar, simple and direct. I brought it over on a small tray. "You're becoming a regular customer here." Maybe I genuinely like the service and atmosphere, or perhaps the coffee quality. The company, actually, the real human company. I sat down across from her. My break time anyway. Might as well talk. "You want to really talk, not just thank me politely and leave." She nodded seriously. "I need to understand something. Why you just walked away immediately? Everyone else would have demanded payment. Recognition, media interviews, something valuable, but you asked for absolutely nothing." "I did it because it needed doing urgently, not for any payment or reward." Her eyes glistened with unshed tears. "I've never encountered anyone like you in my entire life. You probably don't meet many waiters in your usual social circles. I don't meet many genuinely real people anywhere anymore." That statement hit hard, profoundly sad, brutally true, desperately lonely. Leo suddenly burst through the cafe door, after school as usual, looking for me excitedly. He saw Clara sitting there, stopped dead, stared openly. "Papa, is that the princess everyone's talking about?" Clara laughed genuinely for the first time. "Princess? He means from the television news. You're quite famous here in Nice." Leo approached shyly but curiously. "Are you really a princess like they say?" "No, sweetheart. Just a regular person who got very lucky in business. Papa always says everyone's equally regular and important. Money doesn't make anyone special or better." Clara's expression softened completely and beautifully. "Your papa is incredibly wise about life." She stayed for several hours that afternoon. Ate with us. Simple fish soup that's a local specialty, crusty bread, nothing fancy, nothing billionaire level at all, just real honest food, real people, real human connection. We talked openly about childhood experiences. She grew up in expensive boarding schools across Europe, wealthy but emotionally cold, successful early but spiritually empty, built a massive tech empire but lost herself completely in the process. I shared my painful story. My wife died in a terrible boating accident 3 years ago. I quit lifeguarding immediately because I couldn't save her when it mattered most. Blamed myself entirely. Retreated from the ocean, from my calling, from life itself. Only Leo kept me going, kept me alive, kept me human. Clara looked at me with clear, honest eyes. You're poor in money, but you're infinitely richer than any wealthy person I've ever met in my life. Rich in what actually matters most. Exactly right. Symbolic object number 1 reappeared naturally. Leo pulled out the white seashell, the cracked one from my shirt pocket during the rescue, handed it carefully to Clara. This is for you. It's Papa's lucky charm. Now it's yours to keep forever. Clara took it reverently, almost crying. Thank you so much, Leo. I'll treasure it always. It's magic. It keeps you safe from danger. I believe that completely. It already saved me once. Over the following weeks, Clara came by regularly and naturally. Sometimes for morning coffee, sometimes for lunch, sometimes just to sit quietly, to talk, to be normal, to escape her billionaire prison temporarily. She met Leo after school frequently, helped with difficult homework, played beach soccer together, built elaborate sandcastles, laughed freely and genuinely, like she'd completely forgotten how to before. One evening, we all cooked together in my tiny, cramped kitchen. Clara completely clueless about cooking, burning sauce badly, oversalting everything, but trying hard, learning, growing as a person. I've had private professional chefs my entire adult life, she admitted embarrassedly. Never cooked anything myself, ever. You're doing great, Leo encouraged sweetly. Better than Papa sometimes, honestly. Hey, I protested playfully. I'm a perfectly decent cook. They both laughed together. Decent is being very generous, Papa. The warmth growing, the connection deepening, the family feeling developing naturally, organically, beautifully, inevitably. Micro-conflict emerged when tabloids published intrusive photos. Clara and me walking on the beach with Leo between us. Headlines screaming dramatically. Billionaire falls for poor waiter and his son. I seriously considered backing away completely. Protecting her hard-earned reputation, her business interests, her billionaire world. But Clara showed up the very next day, determined, resolved. I don't care what they say about us. Your company, though, your investors, your board, they'll care deeply. Let them care. I'm exhausted from caring what people think constantly. Are you completely sure? More sure than I've been about anything in many years. The real person mark of Act 2, a worn bus ticket, €1.50. Leo kept it in his school backpack pocket, edges completely frayed, worn from use, crumpled from handling, symbol of our daily reality, our actual life, our truth. Clara saw it once lying on our kitchen table, picked it up, studied it carefully, understanding dawning. This is how you get around the city, public bus, walking mostly for exercise, bus when destinations are far. She didn't judge at all, didn't immediately offer money, just understood completely, accepted fully, respected our dignity absolutely. One peaceful night sitting on my small balcony, ocean breeze blowing gently, Clara spoke very quietly. I've had everything money can possibly buy, but I've never experienced this feeling. What feeling? Home. Real home. People who see me truly. Not my bank account, not my company, not my success. Just me. Just Clara. Just human. That's who you are here with us. Just Clara. She leaned her head on my shoulder naturally. Thank you for saving me. Not just from drowning, from everything else too. I held her hand gently. You saved me too. Reminded me why I loved the ocean originally, why I became a lifeguard, to help people, to connect, to matter. You matter so very much. We sat in comfortable silence. Leo asleep inside peacefully, city lights twinkling, ocean whispering eternal truths. two broken people healing each other slowly. But outside our protective bubble, serious storm clouds gathered ominously. Clara's business partners growing increasingly concerned. Media frenzy increasing daily. Pressure building enormously. Reality approaching fast and hard. The storm finally hit exactly 2 weeks later with full force. Clara's board of directors called emergency meeting, demanded her immediate presence, demanded clear explanations, demanded she end this inappropriate relationship immediately. No discussion, no negotiation. Clara brought me along against their explicit wishes, against corporate protocol, against everything they wanted. The boardroom was deliberately intimidating, floor-to-ceiling glass walls, expensive leather chairs, power on full display, wealth flaunting itself arrogantly. I wore my only decent shirt, felt completely out of place, but stood tall anyway. Her stepfather led the attack aggressively. Clara Beaumont, powerful businessman, cold, calculating. This situation is completely unacceptable, Clara. You're making us look absolutely ridiculous. How exactly? Clara asked calmly. By being happy? By finding real connection? By slumming with a waiter? By dragging our company through tabloid mud unnecessarily? I stayed quiet. This wasn't my fight, but I'd support her. Whatever she needed. A major shareholder spoke up, voice dripping contempt. This man is nobody. Poor, uneducated, completely beneath you. I stepped forward, voice calm, controlled. I may be poor, but I know how to see someone as human, not as profit margin. Maybe that's education you severely lack. The room went completely silent, shocked. Marcus glared angrily. You have no place here, no right to speak. I have every right to stand beside someone I deeply care about. You're obviously after her money, transparently obvious. I've never asked her for anything, never will. I want her, just her, not her bank account. Clara stood abruptly. Enough, all of you. Listen very carefully now. The room focused entirely on her. She looked powerful, certain, strong, unbreakable. Julien saved my life, literally saved it, then walked away asking absolutely nothing. Everyone else? You all want something. Want me to be something, do something, profit from something. He just wants me to be happy. Marcus scoffed dismissively. He's manipulating you expertly. He's loving me. Real love, not conditional love, not business love, not strategic love, just real human connection. The words echoed. Powerful, true, undeniable. Another board member tried softening approach. Clara, think practically. Your position, your reputation, your future. I am thinking about my future, Clara said firmly. A future where I'm actually happy, actually fulfilled, actually human. You'll lose major investors. Then I'll find better ones. You'll lose your position. Then I'll build something better. The ultimate confrontation moment. Marcus stood furious. Choose, right now, this company, this position, this life, or him. Clara looked at me, eyes clear, certain, loving, then looked back at the board. Him. I choose him every time, without question. Gasps, shocked silence, disbelief spreading. I pulled something from my pocket, something Leo made. Symbolic object number 2. A leather bracelet, simple, hand-woven, brown leather strips. Leo crafted it himself, said it was for remembering home, remembering what matters, remembering love. I tied it around Clara's wrist. This reminds me where I belong, who I am, what matters. Now it's yours. She clutched it, tears streaming. Thank you for showing me what real wealth looks like. Marcus exploded. You're throwing away billions. For what? A poor waiter and his brat? I moved instantly. Protective instinct. That's enough. Insult me all you want. Never insult my son. Clara grabbed my arm. He's not worth it. She turned to face the entire board. I'm taking 6 months away, completely away, from this company, from this life, from all of you. I'll decide my future from a place of clarity. Not pressure, not manipulation, not fear. You can't just leave. Watch me, I'm majority shareholder. I can do whatever I want, and I choose life, real life, over this. She took my hand. We walked out together, past shocked faces, past judging stares, past the world that never understood. Outside, in the fresh air, Clara broke down, sobbing, years of pressure releasing. I held her. You just gave up everything. No, I just found everything. We stood there, on that street, two people who chose each other, over wealth, over position, over everything the world values. The climax complete. The choice made. The path forward uncertain but real. Her stepfather appeared at the door, face red. You'll regret this. You're throwing away your legacy. Clara turned back. No, I'm finally building one, a legacy of love, not money. We walked away, hand in hand, toward uncertain future, but together. That evening at my apartment, Leo sensed something big happened. Papa, Clara, are you okay? Clara knelt down. I just made the best decision of my life, sweetheart. What decision? I chose family. I chose you both. Leo hugged her tight. We choose you too. I watched them, these two, building something beautiful, something real, something worth everything. The world might judge, the world might condemn, but we had each other. We had truth. We had love. That night, all three of us sat on the balcony, stars appearing one by one, ocean whispering, future uncertain but bright. Thank you, Clara said, for standing with me. Always, I replied. That's what family does. Family, she repeated, tasting the word, loving it. Yes, family. The word hung in the air. Perfect, true, complete. After the dramatic confrontation, Clara did exactly what she promised, stepped away completely, gave temporary authority to her deputy CEO, disconnected from corporate world, rented small apartment near mine, started living differently, simply, really, authentically. She learned to shop at local markets, bargaining with vendors, choosing fresh vegetables, counting euros carefully, living within actual budget, finding unexpected joy and simplicity. Leo taught her to cook patiently. No, Clara, less salt. You always use way too much. She laughed freely, genuinely. How do people do this every single day? With love, I said. Love makes everything taste better. We cooked together, three of us, tiny kitchen, barely room to move, but full of laughter, full of life, full of family. One sunny afternoon, Leo suggested planting flowers on my neglected balcony, the corner I'd ignored for years, too busy surviving to think about beauty. We went to local garden center, bought sunflowers, bright, happy, reaching toward sun, planted them together, dirt under our nails, sun on our faces, Leo chattering excitedly about photosynthesis, Clara listening like he was teaching philosophy. Now our home has real sunshine, Leo declared proudly. Our home, Clara repeated softly, tasting the words, loving them. I like that sound. I watched them, my son, this woman, building something together, something real, something beautiful, something money could never buy. Challenges kept coming, paparazzi everywhere, following us, photographing everything, judging, speculating, writing cruel things. Billionaire goes crazy, wastes fortune on poor man. Clara just laughed. They don't understand. They've never eaten a meal that actually warmed their soul. She was right. Their expensive restaurants, their exclusive clubs, their hollow success. They had everything except what mattered. We established routines, morning walks on beach, coffee at my cafe, lunch at home. Leo's homework help, evening stories, simple, predictable, perfect. Clara started volunteering at local community center, teaching kids about technology, about dreams, about possibilities, not for publicity, just because it felt good, felt real, felt right. One evening she came home excited. I helped a girl today, poor family, brilliant mind, I'm going to sponsor her education. Using your money for good, I observed, finally using it right. Symbolic object number one reappeared, the white seashell, cracked but whole. Clara hung it on her window, catches morning light, reminds her daily, about survival, about rescue, about new beginnings. Weeks passed, the media frenzy died down, found newer scandals, moved on, left us alone. Finally, Clara's company thrived without her constant presence, proving she'd built something sustainable, something real, something that didn't need her every moment. Marcus tried reaching out, olive branch, apology, wanting her back, wanting. Realizing his mistake, she declined. I'm happier now than I've ever been. I'm not going back to that life. But your position, your power. I have better now. I have home. I have love. I have purpose. Real purpose. One night, all three of us on my balcony. Sunflowers tall now, bright yellow against darkening sky. Ocean breeze carrying salt and possibility. This is it, Clara said quietly. This is everything I never knew I needed. We needed you too, Leo said. Papa smiles more now, like he used to, before Mama died. Clara's eyes glistened. Thank you for letting me in, for accepting me, for loving me, just me, not my money, not my position, just Clara. That's who you are, I said. That's who we love. She leaned against me. Perfect fit, perfect moment, perfect life. The sunflowers swayed gently. Ocean whispered eternal truths. Stars began appearing, one by one, like possibilities, like hope, like future. We sat in comfortable silence. Three people who found each other, who chose each other, who built something real from broken pieces. One Saturday morning, I woke to find something unexpected on my small kitchen table. A drawing, Leo's artwork. Three people holding hands, standing on beach, under bright sun, waves behind them, seashells scattered around. Labels in his careful handwriting. Papa, me, Clara. At the bottom, in larger letters, our family. My throat tightened, emotions overwhelming, pride, love, gratitude, hope. Leo appeared in doorway, nervous, hopeful. Is it okay that I drew her as family? I pulled him into hug. It's perfect, absolutely perfect. So can we ask her to stay forever? Really forever? Let's ask together. Claire arrived for breakfast. Our routine, our tradition, our daily choice. She saw the drawing, froze completely, hand flying to mouth, eyes immediately filling with tears. Leo drew this, I said gently. He has a question for you. Leo stepped forward, brave despite nervousness. Will you stay forever? Be our family, not just visiting, not just friends. Real family? Clara collapsed to her knees, eye level with Leo. Are you sure? Both of you? Really sure? We're sure, I said. If you want this, want us, there's room, always home. She nodded, couldn't speak, just nodded, crying, happy tears, relief tears, joy tears. We group hugged, right there. Kitchen floor, three people, different stories, different backgrounds, one family, chosen, real, forever. The final scene unfolded naturally, beautifully, like it was always meant to be. Bright morning in Nice, our apartments now connected, walls opened, one space, one home, one family, kitchen filled with sunlight, coffee brewing. Clara had learned properly, finally. She was proud. Sunflowers in vases everywhere, bright yellow, cheerful, alive, growing, thriving. Leo's homework spread across table. Clara helping with science, patient, engaged, maternal. We sat together, eating breakfast, fresh croissants from local bakery, orange juice, simple, normal, perfect. You know what I realized? Clara said. Voice peaceful, content, happy. What? Leo asked. Family isn't who you're born to, it's who you choose, who chooses you back every single day. Leo nodded. Like how we chose you, and you chose us. Best choice I ever made. Better than any business decision. Better than any investment. I looked at them. My son, this woman, my family, complete, whole, real. Same, I said simply. Best choice ever. Outside, Nice woke slowly. Tourists arriving, locals opening shops, ocean continuing eternal rhythm. Inside, three people found what matters. Found home, found family, found love. Clara wore Leo's bracelet daily, never removed it. Symbol of belonging, connection, choice. The white seashell stayed on her windowsill, morning light making it glow. Reminder of rescue, of survival, of beginning. Leo's drawing went on refrigerator. Our family, our truth, our choice, our love. We established final traditions: Friday beach walks, Saturday market shopping, Sunday big family meals, all three together, always together. Clara's company continued succeeding. She returned occasionally. Different role, advisor, not CEO, balanced, healthy, human. Marcus eventually apologized. "I was wrong. You found what matters." She forgave him. Find your own real life. One evening, months later, we sat on our balcony. Sunflowers magnificent, ocean beautiful, sunset painting sky. "Thank you," Clara said quietly, "for jumping in, for saving me, for loving me." "Thank you," I replied, "for the same, for all of it." Leo leaned against both of us. "This is perfect. This is home." He was right. This was home. Us, together, choosing each other every single day. Because family isn't about blood, about genetics, about obligation. It's about who stands beside you, who sees you, who chooses you. We chose each other. 3 broken pieces, making something whole, something beautiful, something real in Nice. With sunflowers and seashells, coffee and croissants, laughter and love. Nothing fancy, nothing impressive, everything perfect, everything that truly matters. Family isn't about blood. It's about who you choose and choose again every single day. If you found yourself somewhere in this story, subscribe to HA Stories and share what family means to you. If you found yourself in this story, subscribe HA Stories.